My city has a lot of faces. Some can be found in forgotten places. Comfortably sound with a lot of graces. The sun could be down on his Hungary town, but in London he found him a shot of greatness. My city has a lot of faces.
Diversity is everywhere, from the physical buildings to people's faces and the city sounds. The world just seems more colourful here, especially in comparison to the concrete jungle I call home. Although London has its own beauty, this is just a whole new world. And that's what I love, the fact that there is a whole new colourful world to explore.
Salam, salam, Sabumadalo. In English, that's hi, my name is Sabu. And we're here trying to film Addis Faces, man. Right now we're in Bole Medanyalum. This is a pretty important road, man, as it leads to all the super cool things down there, such as the beer garden. And basically, man, Addis Faces has developed to become this project trying to capture the diversity of people living and working in Addis, coming here to enjoy their time, whatnot, so on and so forth. So what we're trying to do is just trying to capture a slice of the pie, a slice of the Addis pie, you know? And that's what we're gonna sort of try to do over these next few weeks. Find like a wide diversity of people, man. Even just like walking on this road, you can see like a different like range of people. People are in suits, business people, workers, poor people.
Sean was a cool dude I met from LA. Some would say he looked out of place in Addis, but after coming here over 5 times, I think he's found his stride. He's at the heart of an organisation called Ethiopia Skate that brings the world of skating to the harsh reality of poor Addis street kids. I wanted to find out what his opinions of the city were, so we got talking as we ordered some delicious burgers.
Cool. So, who do we have over here?
Hey,
Hey.
I'm Sean. Like 4 years ago, I was invited to shoot a video for a non-profit, and like with 3 days notice, I quit my job and came and shot the video, and then came back like 6 times.
What draws you into Ethiopia? Why?
I don't know, man. I never thought about Ethiopia my whole life until like 3 years ago, and after that, it's all I think about.
What other cool things do you do in the city?
So like yeah, now I saw a bunch of skateboarders around this area, and they're like young kids just trying to skate on their own. So I'm kind of like I'm helping them get more boards and get more stuff, and keep going with that. Now I love the city. Like I understand it, and the people, and even the sketchy people, and everything about it is comfortable for me. But at the beginning, it was really foreign and just bizarre. It's really crowded, traffic, everything. But you get used to it.
Has the city changed? Like over the times that you've been here?
In the city,
Yeah.
like the infrastructure is built up a bunch. I think like people don't realize that Ethiopia is abundant. Like there's a lot of like resources, and even like there's an image that Ethiopia is hungry and all this, but there's like such nice farmland. It rains all the time, and high elevation. It's not all like desert or anything. It's not like all famine or anything like that. It's just a lot of life in Ethiopia.
This is what we're about, life. Yeah. Right?
It was cool to get the perspective of someone who doesn't seem Ethiopian in appearance, but is definitely at heart. Although there was a lot of background noise, as there is in Addis, I felt I could hear his message loud and clear. Ethiopia is changing, and it's the place to be. He was also keen to debunk some of the age-old myths of a hungry and starving Ethiopia. And in many ways, his organisation is shaping the new outlook that people have. If you look deeper within Addis, there are new subcultures and nuances ever evolving. From what it looks like, Addis is definitely becoming a metropolis. Here is where you'll find different faces. first word that comes to my mind when thinking about my days here is energy. The city comes alive in the morning. The noise of the birds, chickens and dogs are placed parallel to the sounds of cars and workers starting another busy day in the city. If there's one thing I have learned, it is that people here work hard all the time. As soon as the morning rain is replaced by the rays of sun, that's when things get into full motion.
Basically, here's like a typical scene in Addis. I think this area represents a large, quite large, like what's happening in the city. So basically, you can still see the sort of bird world sort of activities going on, whatnot. So like sheep and stuff like that down there, whatnot. But you can see these rocks. They're going to be used for like construction, and you can literally just see construction all around the city. So yeah, man, this is just a typical shambolic, diverse, chaotic scene of the city, man. This is a city being built. This is a city in progress, you know.
Milo is a born and bred resident of Addis, who happens to also be very cool. As an independent young woman who is working in the city, we thought she would be an interesting person to talk to. I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about women's issues, which are rarely discussed here. I knew Milo wouldn't be afraid to talk out, and she had a lot to say.
Alright, so back to women's issues.
Like the problem is their ideologies about women. So those are the little things that need to change. Like the idea of women not really having to get like an education, for example.
Okay, is that still like a commonly held view between?
It is sometimes.
Okay, sometimes.
You know, and especially like in the remoter areas of Ethiopia, that is still a big issue. I had an interview on my show a couple of weeks earlier, and it was actually a government school, and so I was asking about like a lot of the women participation in the school.
Yeah.
It's like the participation was no problem. Actually, more women enrolled than men, but the problem is throughout the course of the time, more women drop out. You know, so and that's a very big problem. That's one of the things. That's what I'm talking about. Is like with the society.
I just had a talk with Mindo. Yeah, man, different faces to the city. There's still like common misconceptions about what the role of women are for a majority of the people here, and yeah, it was pretty cool listening to her interview. So, what's your name? What do you do?
Well, my name is Addiso Gabriel Xavier. I am the Deputy Chairman of the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia.
And is your name just Addis, or is there like a title in front of the name?
Dr. Addis, or the only country that would like to secure peace and stability, but for reasons beyond that. It has been our profound conviction that if Ethiopia will make a difference in its fight against its own poverty, backwardness, I think the precondition we believe has always been peace and stability within ourselves and with our neighbors. And that's really taking place in our country.
Even within Addis itself, is very diverse. I think it's a misconception that this place is full of poverty and full of struggle, even though there is struggle and all of that. I think that there's so much good on the other side of that, and I think that for me, in my work and the communities that I visited in Ethiopia, I think that it's the poverty that's built communities. So people share, people care about your neighbor, you care, about your family, and I think that that's something that's missing in other parts of the world.
The needle of development threads through different people and heads in different directions. As it turns, we can see that not everyone's opinion of the state of Addis is exactly the same. As we move down generations, new views are formed, old myths are debunked, but nonetheless, the country is moving, and in the right direction, we all hope. Yodit's opinions were intriguing. As someone who had moved back recently, I wanted to find out what she thought of Addis, and since she was our neighbour, we just had to take a short walk to her apartment and talk to her.
So my name is Yodit.
Yodit, what do you do in Addis? What are you here for?
I work for a development foundation that does HIV/AIDS work on the continent. So I manage the East African portfolio.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, what are some of the uncool things of the city, things that you don't like? Or are there any things that you don't like, or is it
I
everything
think
crazy?
with development and this particular infrastructural development, there's a lot of displacement. So I think that for me, you see more, and it's ironic because most people wouldn't think this about Ethiopia, but you see more poverty on the street. People have just been displaced. So I think in that sense, I think that that's probably a big negative.
Okay, so how did we meet Abba?
So, he was a pretty cool guy, man.
After talking to Yodit about poverty and its many forms such as displacement within the city, it was a surprise that we stumbled across Abba, who seemed to be living by the side of the road.
And just as I was about to chuck it, he just came and said, "Oh, can I have that?" I was like, wow. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Blah, blah, blah. She said, "Summa. Okay, this is Abba. Addis Ababa ነው የተወለድከው ያደግከው ወይስ ከትከት ነው? Okay. And that's from Arba Minch, and he's come here to do work. And ለአዲስ አበባ he's just saying that there's not that much work for people his age, and people they just do what they find, try to sort of make money.
I asked him about his thoughts on Addis. He said it was hard if you don't have a lot of money to live in the city. But what about work? There's not a lot of jobs for young people out there. I then asked him about his thoughts on money, inequality, and he replied with something really good actually. I was really inspired by this. He said, God created everyone equal, and as long as he created everyone equal, that's how it should be. People shouldn't be struggling in the city whilst other people have a lot of money to spend. But at the same time, what's the point of having money if you have no one to spend it with? What's the point of the city if there's no people inside it? It made me think it's not hard to see why I would dedicate my future ambitions to his cause, just from the look of passion on his face. I have to give a shout out to all the different people I've met here. Once you hear people's stories, you realise there's no such thing as average. You might think you've spotted the average guy, but you would always be surprised by the story if you aren't afraid to speak to them. And boy, are the stories here different. From older generations marked by pain, to the young hustlers of the city trying to make a living whatever way they can. Everyone's story is different.
And Addis, the capital city of Ethiopia, is really changing for good. And this change has really brought many attention across the globe. And I would like to see people from across the world to come and see and visit us. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So there it is. It looks like things are good for some people and not so good for others. As Addis grows, its complexities intensify, and that you cannot capture in a video. You have to be there to live it and experience it, to fully understand what it's about. No matter how I look at it, the good and the bad, in all its complexities, it is beautiful.